Jason, they explain to me what this long-term outlook is. Because you got DeMar. DeMar's a free agent after this year, and he's at 35. He could be saying, "Hey, y'all, I'm really trying to win," right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going to happen with Lonzo Ball. Luckily, you got Kobe White on a decent deal. You know what I mean, where it's not going to hurt you. Zach LaVine, Supermax deal. Does he get along with Billy Donovan? Are you guys going to hit the reset button? Like, what is there a most likely scenario that you see happening?
Most likely scenario is by next trade deadline, Zach LaVine will be somewhere else. I think NBA teams have to see that Zach is fully healthy. The problem is that Zach has never affected winning in a way that his talent would belie. Like he's an extremely talented player.
I don't think he can drive winning, but I think he can influence winning.
Yeah. No. Yeah. If Zach's your best player, I think you look at results like we've seen with the Bulls here for the last 4 or 5 years. As far as what this team has to look forward to, I think DeMar DeRozan has had such a good experience here and DeMar is one of those dudes who just wants a good home, right? Like I think it's very important to him and his family, and especially at this point in his career. I know winning is important to him, don't get me wrong, but also how do you have to insulate your team if DeMar DeRozan is on it playing the way he is? Mm-hmm. Because like you mentioned, he's 35. DeMar is going to feel the way he feels right now on another team at 36 and then 37 and then 38. So if you're bringing him in there to be the number 3, all right, good luck because DeMar going to put him up. All right. So it's also the market for DeMar. I think what he's done with this young core, this young crew, they look up to him and he's given them some very, very understated, I think, professional blueprints. Ayo Dosunmu, the way that he's taken him under his wing. You look at the last month and a half of basketball that Ayo has played, it's been something. This was a dude who's getting DNP CDs to go on to averaging 16 and 7 for like a good 2.5 week stretch in an NBA season where they're trying to figure out they're playing live. So there's little hints at something happening here, but I've always contended that, hey man, this is a team that should be building a nest for when a disgruntled player is ready to go. And it's a city that all these players love to hang out in the summer. Like you'd be surprised how many NBA, because you're here, but people outside of Chicago be surprised how many NBA players mess around and walk the streets of Chicago every single summer. It's just, do you want to play here in the winter? And when Milwaukee was having their little stare down with Giannis, I love the way we talk about basketball history, because if Giannis doesn't go back and win that championship, or if Giannis doesn't feel the way he was feeling, like we were talking about, like, hey man, you're an hour and 15 away. Come on down.
That Nike thing is real, dog.
Yeah, just come on down if you're feeling that. That's why you hire Mark Eversley, right? You hire Arturas Karnisovas because there was, quote unquote, no gym that he couldn't get into in the world. And then Mark Eversley had the Nike connection. So I've always put the point forth that this team, instead of thinking that it's going to attract some major free agents, which it's been able to do over this last couple of years in Lonzo and DeMar, before a long time, the LeBron saga, even before that, Carmelo Anthony after that, like,
the Tracy McGrady's of the world. Yeah.
I met Tracy McGrady at the airport when everybody had the wrong gate. Benny the Bull, everybody was at the wrong gate. And I was like, because I knew somebody who was working for the airline. I'm like, hey, which gate is he coming up there?
So how does Benny the Bull not know where Tracy McGrady is? That like one of those?
Well, BJ, I think the Bulls wanted to send people a little bit of a decoy. I think because I walk up and BJ Armstrong is at the gate, and that was when BJ was working for the team at the time. And he's like, "What you doing here?" I'm like, "Same thing you doing here. I'm waiting for T-Mac to come off this plane so I could get my audio." And we rode the little escalator thing that you see in the Puffy Missing You video.
Yeah.
We rode that little tram or whatever. Yeah, man. Like, these things have happened year in and year out. So I don't think that this is a place that free agents are destined to come to, but let a free agent have a bad year or 2 years. Like, build it up like Brooklyn did. Hey, Kenny Atkinson, love what you're doing here. but it's now time to flip the switch on this thing. And who knows? Kevin Durant gets his toe back a couple inches. We might be talking about the Brooklyn Nets as champions and that big three never being broken up. So there are so many things that Bulls fans have to fight. And there also is that inferiority complex of, like Will Smith in Fresh Prince, like, why don't he want me, man? Like, why don't he love me, right? Like, you wait for one of these dudes to drop into your lap. For the foreseeable future, though, as strapped as they are with some of the draft picks over the next couple of years because of trades and, what their bottom line is looking at as well, like, what does Michael Reinsdorf want? Like, does he want championships? Does he want to sell it all out and go through these second aprons of luxury taxes? Or do you just want to have, good dinner theater for people here in the city of Chicago? Because Bulls games are a hell of a lot of fun. They're one of the more entertaining teams in the city.
Yes, they are. No, they're
like in the league.
Look, going to the United Center, it felt so familiar to me when I first started going, Jason, because I'm like, this building just feels like something. And I realized, Jason, it was a bigger version of the Palace of Auburn Hills. Like, that's what it was modeled after. The mid suites, the way it was built up and built out and all of that stuff. And they added, like, there's a show element to it. And every team has like a show element to it, but a lot of it is just noise. You know what I mean? The Bulls actually have like a presentation. There's like, it's just waiting on a product that is befitting of all the other things around it. And I know Michael Reinsdorf pretty well. It's just a fine line of trying to figure out, can we win and make money? Can we keep this building full? Because we don't want to go back to being the 2001 Chicago Bulls. You know what I mean? Like, we like the building being full.
I understand it.
It's a tough line. Business. Absolutely it is.
Yeah. And I think that's something that is hard to get across to fans.
Yeah.
When you're like, hey, everybody thinks that you have never ending money, but in any business, there's a bottom line and there's a certain number that you have to meet. There's a certain expectation. Like, everybody loves podcasting, right? But go out there and do it on your own and find out when you got to hire staff and get studio time. You're taking away from, the profits that you might be paying yourself or to other employees. And I think the Bulls have gotten caught up in a lot of that, and they're a prisoner of their past, because anytime that man gets on the screen, you think about, oh, that's Michael Jordan, and then you think, oh, the Bulls used to be the Bulls. Like, this is one of the dynasties that we got a chance to witness, and like, I won't say real dynasty, but like full on. There's no doubt. There ain't no 1 year that you missed, or won 3 out of 5, or won 4 out of 7. Them boys back-to-back three-peated. And the 2 years in between, messed around. If it ain't for Hugh Hollins, you might be going to another.
That.
You talk about changing history. You talk about saving in terms of Jerry Krause, breaking that thing up at the end. How different is history if Scottie Pippen takes that, was it the 94 team?
Yeah.
If Scottie Pippen takes that 94 team, beats the Knicks, and goes and faces off against Hakeem Olajuwon and them boys in the finals. Now, Robert Horry, Vernon Maxwell, and King probably win that series. Don't get me wrong.
Ain't no probably to it.
But we talking a lot differently. That talk ain't as spicy, because if you go to a finals without Michael Jordan, and it's the whole, hey, they never won, he never lost one. Well, guess what? The dude who's sitting next to the dude took that team to the finals against the dude who got drafted before the dude. So, we having different conversations. I know how you and Bo feel about Pip, by the way. We're gonna have an offline conversation about this one today. It's a lot of Pip slander going. Y'all treating my man out here like he Reggie Miller, and I don't like it. Reggie
Miller at least carried the franchise, and Reggie Miller at least showed up in the last. And Reggie Miller at least showed up in the last 5 seconds of the game.
John, let's go ahead and wrap this.
Call it a sitting bull. You know what I mean?
Like,
Scotty.
I think we're done here.
Scottie Pippen here. Are you serious?
I think we're done here now.
Like, everybody talk about 94 Pip. We don't talk about 95 Bulls when they 33 and 31, and Pip got his Michael Jordan shoe talking about, come on home, please come back, please come back.
Hey, things happen, man.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You feel me?
Did he ever wear it, or was he sitting down? My bad.
And now we're going to do the Grant Hill biopic and mess around and blame Doug Collins for all that. Pip was running around doing everything that we love, all these all around ball players that they do. He was doing all of it. All of it.
There they go.
All of it. I'm not gonna have this, man. I was the last person on the Ben Simmons train. Damn it, I'm gonna be the last person on the Scottie Pippen train. Okay? I have an affection and an affinity for all around terrific basketball players who don't exhibit it all the time. Okay? They need love too. All right?
That's sure.
Shout out to the Andre Karolinkos of the world.
That's cute.
I'm not gonna let you slander my guys like this.
Look, man, it ain't slander if I just open a history book.